Hello everybody, today we're going to be exploring the world of musical sound design. Yes, all those little ear candy things where things go and run backwards and upside down and all that kind of thing. If that's your kind of thing, then stick with me because I'm going to give you a lightning quick tutorial on how you can do that in Cubase, okay? Just before we start that, what are you doing on Thursday the 12th of December at 5:30 UK time? Oh, great. Then you can come along to a question and answer session with me. It's going to be live. I'll answer all your questions to do with our master's program. The next intake is in January, so there's still time to apply if that's what you're interested in. All the details and the registration link are below here. Right, let's start from scratch. First thing we're going to do is play in something. I've got Piano Tech 8 here, so we're going to play in a very simple little chord, which is going to, then we'll turn it into audio. So I'm going to play, I don't know why I played that, but I did. It's a C sus2. Right. Now, in order to turn it into audio, you right click or control click on the MIDI itself, and then you'll see this here, which says render in place. Okay, now you've got a choice, render with current settings or render settings. Let's just have a quick look at the render settings. What you get the choice of is dry. In other words, if you've got insert plugins on the channel, it will just ignore them. Channel settings, which is the one I tend to use, so it will render it with all the inserts and everything else. Complete signal path, that means with master effects and there's one, complete signal path, in other words, with effects which are not on the channel itself, and then complete signal path with master effects, which has just got the whole caboodle on it. Channel settings is the one for me. So once I've chosen that and I click render, I turn it into a piece of audio. And there it is in all its glory. Now, let me make him a lot bigger. There we go. Right. What you might well want to do to start with is just trim that up a bit. Take off, make sure that the grid is off. Then you just drag the beginning. So it's like that. There you go. And you can drag the end as well, put a little thing on. Now I tend to rebound, because that is that's just a region within a larger audio file. I will rebounce that. So we go Command B, and now it is an audio file in of itself. Look, I can't drag it out. That's that. Right, now the most simple thing you can do with the audio, other than just chop it up, is to run it backwards. And if you go, okay, let's just make a copy of it. There we go. And then go into this one. Again, I'm going to go Control click, Processes, Reverse. Now, because I do this a lot, I've got quite a lot of these things like this on a Command key. So Command R will turn it backwards for me. Right, so now you've got a reverse piano note, which is quite interesting in its own right. What we're going to do, though, is we're going to take the end of it off, that's the beginning of the note, the transient, do the same there, overlap them, hit X to crossfade, and now we've got what I call an in and out. So it does this. Okay, so far so good. Take the spare bit off there, take the spare bit off there, combine the two together, hit 4 to go to the glue tool, hit 1 to go to the select tool, select it, Command B, and bounce the audio. So now we've got a separate piece of audio, which is that little in and out, okay? So far, so good. Right, what else can we do with this? What about applying a plugin to it? One of the ones which people quite like quite a lot. If you're on, this is Cubase 14. If you're on an earlier version, if you look for a plugin called Tremolo, which is a standard Cubase thing, what this does is this. Which is quite good. There is a much more powerful way of doing it now in Cubase 14, which is using the modulators. So if you hit the LFO, for example, then you click that little plus button, so it's gone into learn mode, then hit the volume for the channel. You see it's now wobbling up and down. Let's now set it for a saw wave, and let's increase the rate to 1/16. Okay, and now listen to what happens. And if you want something slightly softer than that, you can mess with the phase, you can mess with the shape, all that kind of thing. But again, at this point, having applied another plugin, I would then just re-render it because there you go, and then you see it. The advantage to rendering all the time is that you've got each step of the process. So if you go too far and something gets distorted and it's all got horrible, you can always just step back one step and then you've got it. So we've now got our in and out piano with that effect on it. We can add an insert effect. As I say, this is Cubase 14, so I can add shimmer, which is an interesting effect, which will make it sound like this. Okay, I'm going to render that as well. And then we'll get that with shimmer. Now, what you can also do, something which is quite fun, and Cubase does incredibly well, is time stretching. So if you want to take this audio, if you hit 1 to cycle, do you see those, the little, look at the arrow and how it changes from nothing to that to that. You want the one with the little clock on it. Once you move it into time stretch mode, when you drag it out like that, it makes the whole thing longer. And the time stretching on Cubase 14 is incredible. So normally, if you dragged it out that much, you'd hear all these artifacts. But nowadays, very little. Listen. So that's starting to turn into quite an interesting sound. We could put another plugin on the track. I'm very, very fond of this one, Blackhole by Eventide. This is not a Cubase plugin, but it's brilliant. It presents this almost endless reverb. So I'm going to render that. I'm going to use this one. And then what we're going to do with this is we're going to do one of Cubase's great party tricks. Okay. So if you go into Process, right click again, go into Processes, go down to Pitch Shift. Okay. Now what you've got the choice of when you're in Pitch Shift is, oops, come back, all is forgiven. Where have you gone? Oh, there we go. You can pitch shift it as normal, up and down, by a fixed amount. You can choose time correction on or off. Time correction means if you pitch it up, it would play back the sample faster and therefore shorter. Time correction will mean that it stays the same length, but just pitched up. But that's not the secret weapon, okay? Shh, the secret weapon is this, envelope. It's brilliant. What it does, this one range here is how many semitones. So we're going to look at 8. No, let's go to 12. Let's go to a full octave. Okay. Then, do you see this here? Right. If you drag it down, the pitch will follow that curve. So if we line it up like that, what's going to happen? And you can see underneath how the audio is responding. It's doing it in real time. Now when I play this, when it gets halfway through, the pitch is suddenly going to go like this. Okay, ready? Listen. Wait, here we go. I think that's really sensational. I love that. Then I'm going to layer up a couple of these. I'm going to run one backwards, and then I'm going to so you can create a whole texture out of these things. So you've got multiple ones. I have no idea what this is going to sound like. Is it going to sound cool or rubbish? Cool or rubbish? A new game from Guy Michelmore Enterprises. Okay. Let's start it here. I like that. I think that's I think it's quite cool. Now we're going to do one last thing. We're going to select the range for the whole thing. So we've got all these together. We're then going to go to export, audio mix down. We're going to call it piano thingy. And we're going to set the after export, create a new audio track and export audio. What this is doing is it's mixing down all these 4 tracks into one single audio file, like that one. Now, we're going to add a sampler track. Sampler tracks are really powerful. They let you take any audio, drop it in, and then just play it back on the keyboard. Let's just drop and drag this in. We can set the start a little bit later, maybe. I don't know. Let's see what happens. Let's just play it. You get the gist. This is the fun. This is why this kind of digital sound design is so much of a laugh, because it's largely driven by what happens if. I wonder what would happen if. And if you just spend, a morning just creating wacky old bits of sound like that, and then you just save them for a rainy day. You've got a little sort of pot of gold somewhere, and you just bring them out. And then you kind of create an absolutely amazing texture. And it's all yours because you did it. Nobody else did it. Nobody else has got that sound. Go and try. Have fun. And if this has been useful, leave a comment. Feel free to subscribe. I'm not fussed. Just one last reminder. Underneath this, I'm doing a Q&A session about our master's degrees. Where you learn about all kinds of things, including this kind of stuff. It's Thursday, December the 12th at 5:30 UK time. I'll be here. It'll be live. You can ask me whatever you like. And we're accepting applications for our January intake. So if you're interested, get in touch. Google Cubase. Cubase! Think space. Think space courses. I need a long lie down. See you soon. Bye-bye.